If someone is a really good cultural fit, and we're seeing an evolution or the clarity of this happening now with folks working from home, and you have managers and leaders who are great in a in-person environment, you put them in this virtual environment, and now all of a sudden this is not their comfort zone. How are you kind of helping your clients to say, hey, you guys are in a different type of culture, which is remote right now. What should they kind of look for to try to be proactive to say, let's get a pulse check with your team and see if this is a good fit for them, because we want to get ahead of this now before it deteriorates the culture, because maybe that person doesn't perform well or manage well or excel well in this environment.
So that it's a loaded question. It's a right path to go down. So if I go back to the manager, right, themselves, because not every manager is the same, right? You and I know we've had many conversations about what does a great leader look like, and they come in all shapes and forms. Some leaders really lean into their people strengths. Some leaders really lean into their operational strengths, right? I think it's a great time to give yourself as the leader, right? Whether you're the CEO or you're a member of the leadership team or you're leading a business unit, is to do a heat check and remind yourself, what are the strengths of each of my leaders? And then map that to the environment, right? Because what we want to do before we start making any course corrections is find the root cause. Maybe, for example, you're managing a team of engineers and you used to be able to kind of get away with like checking on the office culture when you were in the office. Well, if now you're managing a remote group of engineers, maybe they don't like doing Zoom with the screen on, right? Maybe that makes them physically uncomfortable to have that like face to face, but other people are looking at that in the organization going, why don't they like to do that, right? It could be that you're managing a group of customer service people and you're more of a people-driven leader and you're not a big detail person, and now you've got to use tools like monday.com to manage projects, right, more frequently. And the reason to bring up those examples is it's easy for you and I to look at that and observe it as just a leader, right, and say, well, that's frustrating me, and therefore I'm going to do this to fix it, as opposed to taking a step back to say, I'm going to treat each leader different, and that I want to understand what comes natural to them and then where they need to stretch. And then I want to find the root cause of what I may be observing is less than optimal or that I'd like to see change. And then I'm going to go from there, right? Because now I can fix it from the foundation of I know what's driving it. If I know what's driving it, it's easier to get to the next step. And to answer the second part of your question, leadership skills are really being tested right now. And they're not being tested in a uniform way. They're being tested because the environment's new. They're being tested because there's still a tremendous amount of uncertainty as to what does the new normal look like in terms of, are we going to stay with this hybrid or even remote environment? Are we coming back to the brick and mortar? What's going to be expected of me when we do? I think you have a lot of instability right now at that next tier down below the leadership team, right? Which is, how do my managers, supervisors, leaders start to really tackle this new day to day? So I think, again, to summarize, go back and evaluate strengths and opportunities, attack root causes in a productive way, and then build leadership skills from there. But don't do it until you've really investigated what some of those root causes are. Can't overstate that.